Greetings, friends, and welcome to Volume 6 of Disney Compendium. Uh, I am your host, JJ. Over there is my good friend, Nick. Nick, how you doing?
Good. I'm great considering that I watched Saludos Amigos.
Saludos, amigos.
Saludos Amigos. Blah 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 blah.
So, this is Walt Disney Animation Studios' sixth theatrical showing, which is very upsetting to think about.
That they thought people would pay to go see it.
Yes, sitting in at a mind-numbing 43 minutes. They put this in theaters, and it, boy howdy, it's the shortest movie they've ever done, because anything shorter than that, it's a short. So, like, TV shows are longer than Saludos Amigos.
I feel like this should have been like a primetime special at best.
Yeah. It's a crazy thing. And they didn't really have much to say, like much say in making this, because they were getting a bunch of money to like do this, because it was all sort of government funded, and it's propaganda. Like, lack of a better term, I mean, it's just propaganda movie. It's the first. Okay, so the next 6 weeks of this podcast, because the next 6 movies are what are called package films, and package films are just compilations. Essentially, it's just a bunch of shorts making up a movie. So this is the first of them, and so the next 6 theatrical movies, animated movies, are these package films, and what a way to start off, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so for people that don't know, because it's much more one of their more obscure. This one, and next week, the very next movie 7 from the studio, is The Three Caballeros, which is effectively the same thing. It's a sequel to this, and it's doing the same thing. And it was a movie that was specifically designed to be education short for the most part, but it was also part of a broader goodwill World War II thing, because we'll get to it in a minute. So it's basically just Disney showing Westerners Latin America, basically, like what things, pop culture of like, not pop culture, but like what Latin America is all about, because it's World War II, and Americans are still very isolated from the rest of the world. So, because this movie came out in
42,
like in August of 1942 at Rio de Janeiro, and came out in America in February of 43. So
the beginning of the movie, those are the Disney animators on the airplane, right?
Correct.
It was like, hey, we forced our animators to go fly to this country.
Yeah.
And don't they look thrilled?
Yeah, boy, they're just, yeah. And so it's like 4 little animated films that have been like that are sort of like stitched together with these live action shots of like the animators, and like airplanes and
llamas.
Llamas, and just various cultural stuff going on in Latin America, people, and looks like stuff you would see in like a newsreel of the time. So
I mean, it's a glorified travel log.
I won't even say glorified. It's a travel log. I mean, like that's its point. That's what it's trying to be. Just drawn for the most part. So out the gate, you get and Nick, I need you to compose yourself. So the first short is Lake Titicaca. Thank you. I told you. I told you.
Lake.
Yeah. It's like the Simpsons joke. Cucamonga, Walla Walla, Seattle. But yeah, it sounds exactly like what it is. It is Donald Duck as an American tourist at Lake Titicaca. And that's...
This is where we first learn about altitude. This movie
yes.
really drills into you about the altitude.
Yeah, boy howdy. Really, you could tell that was the thing that really bothered, like, probably Walt the most. It's the altitude. It's, and there's like there's like some llama gags going on in there and stuff, but it's a travelogue. It's just like, hey, check out this place. Look what you can do here. Look what Donald Duck's doing here. And there's not a whole lot going on in this segment. Like,
this got me to llama dance.
Yeah, yeah. Your next segment is called Pedro, and it's anthropomorphic airplane in Chile. And it's his like very first flight.
It's the airplane from the pilot episode of Amazing Stories.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like in his early years.
I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's just a little. It's just like sort of showing, Latin America, but from the sky, and it's still a point.
Here's how they deliver mail in the Andes.
Yeah. That's, in case you can't tell, we kind of both just absolutely hated watching this. It's not good. It's not entertaining. It is. You made the joke before we hit record. It's like, oh, it's raining outside and you can't go out for recess. So everyone get into the, everyone come here and we'll just watch a movie in stores. And this is what they would put on because it's 42 minutes and educational. So
now, if you think it's just me and JJ because, oh, you guys are just being like, old and jaded. When I was watching this film, my 6-year-old wandered in the room, looked at the screen for 2 minutes, and then just kind of silently backed out of the room. He backed out of the room.
Like, there's only yeah, okay, you have Pedro and
Gaucho Goofy.
Yeah, Gaucho Goofy was the next one. But Pedro was released by itself at a point. Like, it was like a theatrical short by itself at one point, which I don't know what made them think that this was the one of all of them on here. Like, this is the one that we're gonna shove out there.
I feel like Pedro was repurposed for planes, maybe.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that similar.
Yeah, but yeah, then you have El Gaucho Goofy, which is the most entertaining part of this entire set, because I mean, it's closer to being a traditional Goofy cartoon. It's not too far removed. Like, you can tell like this is supposed to be like one of those how-tos, but to be a gaucho as opposed to how to play golf or whatever.
Goofy is apple bong.
Yeah, what the yeah, jeez. It's like, yeah, it looks like he's huffing on an apple. So you watched the edited version, right?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
So there are two versions of this, because in the original version of it, Goofy prepares a cigarette and smokes it. Like, that's part of the like his thing. That got cut out later on, and I think now the only way to really get the unedited version without fighting it unscrupulously online, which even then is really hard. I tried just to give to you. Like, those gotta exist out there somewhere, but no, it's really hard to find that. I mean, it was released on a documentary based on this movie called Walton El Grupo, and it's a bonus feature of the unedited version that has Goofy smoking a cigarette in it. And that documentary is not great because it's a Disney documentary, so it kind of, fancy, pretties up some of the stuff, makes it seem a lot more interesting than the whole thing was. But
it's propaganda for the propaganda.
Yeah, it's propaganda for the propaganda. But it's a pretty decent documentary, and I watched it again going into this, and there's not much to talk about because there's a very specific purpose this movie was made. We'll get to that in a minute. And then you have the finale to it, which is sort of the birth of the three caballeros for the most part, because it introduces Jose.
Which is the parents.
Yeah, Jose, do not know how to pronounce his last name, and I'm not going to embarrass myself or Latin American countries by trying to butcher this, because he even pronounces it in his. Well, I'm like, I listened to it a few times. I'm like, I think I know how to say it, but I'm not gonna.
He's Jose the parrot.
Yeah, Jose the parrot, and it's just him giving Donald a tour of South America. Like they do the samba, and that's the story of that. It's a pretty decent Donald Duck cartoon. I like it when he was clearly just freshly drawn. It does the one thing that Walt always hated in animation, and that was the sort of show the animator's hand kind of thing, because that was an early trick in animation, was like the animator was, you could, like the Duck-a-Muck kind of situation.
Yeah, you kind of yeah, but only on accident.
Yeah, but so you have the paintbrush painting up like Jose and everything, and he immediately knows who Donald Duck is. It's you just exist now, but you've already heard the history. You already know the complete history of Donald Duck and that he's a celebrity. So
and he's freaking jazzed to meet Donald Duck.
Yeah, he's thrilled. He even did the mocked Donald Duck by doing a little tantrum for a second, to let him know that he knows who he is. And yeah, it's it's 42 minutes that feels like an hour, and I've learned nothing. You learned about altitude. I think that was the one thing.
About altitude.
That's the only thing you've mentioned since watching this movie.
I've learned that llamas dance, I guess.
Yeah, sure. It's so. Yeah, the movie is just. It can only exist in the time where it came out, because okay, so this movie, we can get to the history of it now. This movie is built around World War II. The whole idea of it only exists because of the good neighbor policy that was being implemented at the time. And so for people who don't know, the good neighbor policy, it was a foreign policy from Roosevelt, and it was geared towards Latin America, and it was just Latin America was kind of close to the Nazis, and they didn't like that, so they needed to maybe sway them a little bit to be more friendly to the United States.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what he means by that, just look at Nazis, Bolivia.
Yeah. That's the deal. And so, Walt ends up getting involved in this because Mickey Mouse at the time, worldwide, Disney, anything worldwide, was a big deal. And Walt Disney is a phenomenal idea for a goodwill ambassador to send overseas. And it also worked to the advantage of Walt, because Walt was very prone to panic attacks, anxiety, and everything, because the studio was always losing money. He was always stressed out, and he was, perfectionist kind of stuff, and he just he was miserable. And you had the
and they got paid a lot of money to make this.
Yeah. and you the film was given federal loans, um, and it's hard to talk about this because it's like there's too much like nuance to military to like government policy and stuff. But Disney was just at his limit. The labor strike was going on at the studio. His doctor told him he needed to go on a vacation, so this was a great excuse to go on a vacation. So you pack up some animators and go out to Latin America with the expressed notion of going out and making a cartoon over your experiences. Whatever that cartoon was going to be, you had no idea, but you knew that you needed to make a cartoon that was going to show how much we love your country, kind of stuff.
I get the feeling. I get the feeling it's 40 minutes because the animators went over there went, well, crap. There's nothing here that we could. So let's just do some llama stuff. Oh, hey, this is what boats are. These people are dancing.
Yeah.
And cowboy.
But like, it's like so blatant on the nose with the propaganda part of it. Like it's like you can tell out the gate what it's supposed to do. At the time, like we know now what the whole situation was. Like we know now the whole reason this was happening was because of World War II, because of Nazi influence in North America trying to, stymie that and trying to like make friends and pull the influence away from other nations. And I guess a cartoon is, I mean, propaganda was a big deal on all sides.
Yep.
I mean, you'll see shortly in the Walt Disney, Walt Disney shorts part of things where they really double down on propaganda stuff to both rally the troops and rally people at home. And they weren't sending things out to Europe because Europe was obviously deep in the war, and now we're in the war. So, money's tight and you're basically being funded wholly by the government. And what does the government want? The government doesn't want Mickey Mouse cartoons of him, riding a trolley car or something. You know what I mean? They want something that they can use to sell and make troops happy. And if they're going to pay for it, they're going to pay for something good. It didn't go over particularly well. A lot of times within the military, it was an expensive thing, and then they kind of get nothing out of it. There's no returns on anyone's end. So
Donald Duck wants you to buy war bonds and recycle your scrap metal.
Yeah.
But
Mickey Mouse was obviously very popular in Latin America. And like, yeah, it was like Walt and like a group of 20 people, and they visited Brazil and Argentina, Peru, and it was just, it was a vacation for the animators that they were being given money for to make a cartoon afterwards to sort of create a happy-go-lucky film that they thought was okay to release in theaters. I mean, it did pretty good money-wise. It made over $1 million, but
you have to wonder,
eventually, because like that $1 million comes back after 1951. Is that $1.1 million after 1951? So the movie had been out for a decade. So
you have to wonder if they even cared if it made money, because they already, the government paid for it.
Yeah, and like they knew they weren't going to. For Walt, it was a matter of trying to just work through what was going on for him personally. He was, the strike, the studio not making money, anxiety and depression. Walt had the most high society Hollywood injury you could ever have, and he suffered with back pain for pretty much the rest of his life because he had a polo injury.
God.
So, he was always in pain too. So, like a modern day Walt Disney would be, probably it's either go to Latin America and create sort of half cooked documentary travelogue cartoon package feature, or get addicted to painkillers. Like this.
I mean, might as well go to South America on Uncle Sam's dime, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's not the only time, because the next episode is Three Caballeros, which is, it's all the same exact story. It's South America, government propaganda for them because they had this deal in place, and Saludos Amigos was a big hit for Latin America. They loved it. They ate it up. And why wouldn't you? It's a cartoon made specifically for you.
Yep. But you kind of wonder if this is like the beginning of we've all kind of known how Walt is very, throwing people under the bus during the McCarthy hearings and things like that. Things, and so maybe this is like the beginnings of his yeah, sure, American government, I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, I mean, because he basically worked for them exclusively for quite a while, because the government, the United States military, moved into the studio, and that was just a thing. Like, they had no choice. It was they had to do that, and had to work that way. So you combine that with the strike and floundering in terms of money earned and stuff, and this is what you get. You get Walt, who is growing increasingly bitter towards the industry as a whole. So this movie feels bitter in the sense of in terms of art, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Not that it's not well made. I mean, it's the animation stuff is still well made. I mean, it's cheap and it was done on a shoestring budget, but it feels bitter in the sense where it's just like, yeah, here you go, 40 minutes, and here it is. It's a bunch of Latin America stuff. Enjoy.
Yeah, there's no heart to it.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah, even we hated Bambi, but at least there's heart to it. At least there was. Yeah. At least it felt like that was something he wanted to make. That was something that was important to him, because it was. They've been working on it since it was supposed to be the second movie, like we said. But yeah, I mean, at this point, there's no plan in place for the studio. They have a bunch of properties that they want to be working on, but we won't get to them for another 6-7 years, because it's not until Cinderella where you go back to how Walt and the studio were making animation movies again. Like I said, the next 6 movies, including this one, are all package features. And so it's a bunch of things that are just kind of hobbled together, or unfinished stuff that they finish and make shorts that they're not going to put before movies or whatever. Dumbo was short. Dumbo was a short movie, and they actually packaged in the re-release of Dumbo, Saludos Amigos. So
you get the sense that starting with this film and then moving forward next couple of weeks,
yeah,
it's pretty much like these are the cost-effective movies we've got.
Yeah. And so next week is Three Caballeros, and it's a better movie than this one, because it's longer. It's this one is a little over an hour, not super longer than an hour, but I think it's 70 minutes or something. But it's 6 shorts as opposed to just 3.5, because you can't really count the Lake Titicaca one as a full. It's so short, and nothing's really going on in it. So
honestly, usually at these episodes we tell people hey, go watch it. I feel like if you're going to watch this, and God bless you if you do, I would wait till next week. Maybe I'd watch it with Three Caballeros.
Yeah, that's how I watched it. I try to watch these even if I've recently seen them, I like to watch them a day or two before we record these, just to sort of get some of the stuff in my brain, so I can remember, because I'm terrible at remembering names and specific plot points and stuff immediately afterward. Like immediately afterwards, I may remember. A week or two, it'll probably, like, I know the story, I could give you it, but I may put it out of order, or I may get some minor details wrong. So it makes for a better better show for me. But like this one, I watched
that in
both.
film this there is no plot.
Yeah, there's no plot here, so all you have to do is remember what the cartoons were, and you, just by saying the title, for the most part, you get the idea of what these cartoons are. But yeah,
So how
there's
do
not much to it.
so if you're gonna watch Saludos Amigos, how would you go about doing this? If let's say for instance you didn't want to break the law, how would you go about watching this, JJ?
The Saludos Amigos, the only way to really go about it right now is they released a Blu-ray set of the two this year, but it's already like out of production. So it's like it exists out there, but good luck. And if you find it third party, it's somebody's trying to sell it to you for $80 or something, and neither of these are worth it. $40, would be too much to ask. But the Walton El Grupo DVD still exists. You can buy it, and it has Saludos Amigos uncensored on it. And I think you can rent them on iTunes and stuff. I think they're available on there.
Just a glance at Amazon. The Blu-ray with both films is $62.95.
Oh, so it's coming down in price. So there you go. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just I this gets the thumbs down to the ultimate degree. Like, people seem to. It seems to be really split. Period. Like even when it came out, and even now, it's just split down the middle. Some people like it just because it's Disney, and I have like rose tinted glasses on for a lot of these movies. Even ones that I hate, I'll still like watch, because there's still an art to them, but there's like, yeah, I just don't get. I don't have any connection to this movie. I feel like if Portuguese is like a native language to you, maybe this would mean more to you as a movie, like Brazil or something, if you're Brazilian or something. But
or if you happen to be old enough to have never seen this movie in theaters, and you're like, oh yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or if you're elementary school teacher with a drinking problem, this film is for you.
Yeah, 42 minutes fills out a good chunk of any class period, so.
I'm at my desk. Yeah. You guys, this film.
Yeah, it's just, it's not enjoyable. You can rent it digitally. I just looked it up. Yeah, you can rent it digitally. It's $3 for a rental, which, if you've never seen it, maybe it's worth the $3, just because it's something completely unique and would never and won't ever exist again. Like this and next year's next year, because the movie comes out next year, but next week is the follow-up sequel. Like it's the first time they're doing a sequel. It will be so we don't have to get to that, because it's like, is there a sequel? Yes, next week's episode, there's a sequel. There's no video game, there's no hit song here, I think, but
there's some merchandise out there.
There's merchandise. The Three Caballeros are a relatively popular group. It's, you get a lot, Jose, and next week you get what the heck's his name? Pistole, something like. Yeah, but yeah, and they pop up in the theme parks. Like you'll find them at Disneyland. The Three Caballeros appear. This is obviously next week, but because Jose is in it and Donald Duck and as their stuff, like they appear in the Disneyland version of It's a Small World.
They do. You're right.
And they also have they have a ride at Epcot. There's there's like 2 rides in the World Showcase, and it's a Frozen ride and like a boat ride. It's based off of like the Three Caballeros, like So
I keep want to keep I want to keep calling it Three Amigos.
yeah, that's so much. Yeah, I mean, look,
They're much better.
a much better three groups of friends hanging out together. Yeah, it's dated. I think that's what hurts it the most is that it's a very dated movie because it's very much exactly what it's supposed to like. It takes place in the time this movie is made, like, and a lot of the sort of views and stuff are outdated, and because it's World War II propaganda, you've basically uh, you've pigeonholed it into a very specific time frame, and it just feels so old when you watch it.
Well, the funny thing is, considering what we've talked about the last few weeks, it's not racist.
No, it's far from it. It's like it's very like even-headed about dealing with another culture for the most part. I mean, like, I think it's a good I think it's good if like for the music. I think like, oh, here's some like music from Latin America, like when they do like the samba and stuff. Like that's it's pretty good, useful, like, oh, okay, information kind of thing. But
I feel like that Disney could trot out, like, or I'm sure they have for like Latin American Appreciation Day. Like, look, no, this thing, remember?
Yeah, like, but I think like the Gaucho Goofy thing, like, it doesn't really feel like it has any place in this movie because it's just like this weird historical, like their version of the cowboy kind of thing, and it's like what point are they trying to make with that in particular?
You feel like it could just be in another Goofy short.
Yeah, it just felt like any kind of Goofy short. It's not really teaching you anything except showing you, like, here's how a gaucho dresses. And it's like, yeah, he's dressed like a cowboy, but they put a poncho over it, like... and, like, that whole weird, like, watch how he eats. A piece of bread in this side and a piece of meat on the other, and they rotate his hand and stuff. Like, that whole thing.
Look how he eats with a knife. Like, okay.
Okay, thanks. And like, yeah, you could, if you didn't call it like Gaucho Goofy, if you just called it Cowboy Goofy, it would have been the exact same thing. Like, you don't have to change a single thing for it for the most part, except maybe change the overhead map that it cuts to or whatever, like to Texas or something.
Isn't he? Wait, he doesn't have a horse, though, right? Isn't he riding an alpaca in this thing?
Well, I mean, when they are explaining a gaucho's most important friend is a horse at the beginning of that whole thing, and the horse kisses him and runs away.
Are you kidding? That it didn't look like a horse. I was positive it was like an alpaca.
Yeah, when you anthropomorphize like a horse, like, unless you make it look like Horace Horsecollar or something, like they all just sort of, because you have to elongate some features of a horse to make it human-like, and it just kind of makes horses look weird when they're like standing upright.
Horse technology wasn't improved till Rockstar got on the case.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're all just wandering around petting horses and having them just do their business everywhere they are in the world of video games. It's great.
So, we did talk about like how there's ways to watch this. I watched this movie. I'm not going to tell you what website it is, but it rhymes with Faily Lotion. So if you want to watch that movie, it's on that website.
But yeah, you watched it in Italian, didn't you?
Well, the only version I could find that was in English was a 33-minute version that was sped up to avoid copyright infringement.
Yeah, you watched it was the 45 RPM single of this.
Yeah.
But you didn't change the speed of your record player.
Be careful, Pedro. There's a mountain. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but like, yeah, it's not worth looking up. Just take our word for it. You may love this movie. This is somebody's favorite movie. That's the thing about anything that you'll say. This is somebody's favorite, and like that's fine. Why? But also, all right, sure. I mean,
if
it's
all
cute.
you have, if all you have is a VCR and a collection of cassette tapes that you and you stop collecting cassette tapes after 1986, then this might be your favorite movie.
I mean, look, this was the 6th Disney movie. I mean, obviously, you know, Dumbo and Bambi aren't for everyone, and so you know, this is somebody's first Disney movie out there.
If nothing else, it's kind of interesting to watch just for like the historical context. Just go like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
And why is this? And you're probably do some research. If nothing else, you're like, I guess I got to do some homework on this movie about why it was made.
Yeah, I think that's like the story, like the World War II story behind it's the most interesting part. I highly recommend watching the documentary, which you can also rent digitally or you can buy the DVD. The DVD exists out there, and it comes with this on the DVD if you get the DVD, and the unedited, uncensored version. So if you really, really need to see Goofy smoking, this is how you do it. And somebody wants to see Goofy smoking. There's somebody out there that wants to see
smoking.
Yeah.
Or you can see Goofy just taking rips from an apple bong.
Yeah, yeah. Still, I don't know if I just missed them describing what that was, or I'm just supposed to know what's going on with that apple.
Don't explain it. He's just doing it, and then it cuts to like his.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just something because we weren't alive in the 40s, or something like it's maybe it's. Is it supposed to be like a canteen of some sort or something? Like I don't know. It's it's like you see, like go back and watch Steamboat Willie, and Pete just takes a big bite of a big brick of tobacco. Like that's not how you're used to seeing chewing tobacco like in brick form these days. It's like culturally means nothing to us, but
I mean, but yeah, like, but for a lot of those films, you'd be like, oh, like they're going, like, go man, go, or yeah, daddy, that kind of stuff. You're like, okay, that's just like whatever dumb lingo, and we get it. And they're wearing zoot suits and stupid hats.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have any relatives who are alive back in the 40s, but like, hey, did you guys just get super high out of apples all the time?
Yeah. I mean, look,
hey, Grandma.
World War II is going on. There's Pearl Harbor attacks have gone down. The Nazis are scary. You know, you can't just sit back and watch or listen or watch the news or whatever the heck you to go into the movies and watching the newsreels come across or whatever. So.
I mean, especially maybe to go in to deal with altitude sickness.
It's the only thing you learned about from watching this.
Seriously, it's the only thing they wanted to teach me, except for what those boats were made out of.
You learned nothing from Gaucho Goofy? You learned nothing about how to dress like a cowboy or how to eat meat and bread?
Nah, I figure if I needed to know how to eat meat and bread, this movie wasn't going to help me. Like, if I'm always struggling with that, this movie was not going to like, oh, word! I got to put up like wrap the meat in the bread.
So yeah. No, and in case we didn't say it, but I sort of said it at the beginning of the episode when I said greetings, friends. But Saludos Amigos means hello, friends. So I'm sure you context clues can figure that one out. But just in case that was not obvious from the beginning. That's how it is.
Saludos, amigos, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I could not understand those lyrics at all.
No, and I thought it was just because I was watching like a really super bootleg version of it, but I actually looked up the song to see what it was. Nope. I don't know. I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, it's weird. I like the poster for it. The poster looks real fun because they actually say it's got the big Saludos Amigos and then in parentheses and just normal black font underneath it. Just hello, friends. Just to let you know.
The map looks like it should have Indiana Jones's plane going across it. The beginning of it. Just dot plane. I mean
Yeah.
We have to make
So
because there's not much to talk about.
yeah, tonight when we're recording this, ABC for us, we're on the West Coast, so the Mickey Mouse 90th birthday bash hasn't aired yet, so that's
About 50
exciting.
minutes. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Next, so when I don't know when we're going to record. It's either going to be Saturday or Sunday next week. We're just seeing how the sausage is made here. We record these a day before I put them out, so it's.
I mean, if you want our live takes of these things, please let us know.
Yeah.
Man,
But
that'd be a good idea.
the next week when we record, or around when we record, November 18th will be Mickey Mouse's 90th birthday. It is because Steamboat Willie was November 18th, 1928. So that 90 years of Mickey Mouse.
It was Steamboat Willie and then Plane Crazy?
Yeah, but Plane Crazy was actually made first.
But Plane Crazy was released second, right?
Yeah, Plane Crazy was released second because when they were making Plane Crazy is when sound became a thing. And that's when Walt was like, no, we have to make a sound cartoon now. We can't not be sound. Silent pictures are dead. So obviously Plane Crazy gets pushed to the side and they make a whole new cartoon with sound ready to go. And so that's how, and that's a whole, like, that's unfortunately not the podcast we're working on, because like the figuring out how to apply sound to our cartoon was really fun for them. Obviously, I'm being facetious. It was not very fun for them because that's a whole new thing that nobody knew what the hell they were doing.
I know for you in particular, right, because this is Mickey's 90th anniversary, there's a lot of really cool Mickey Mouse merch out there.
Oh yeah, I was just at Target yesterday and they have like a whole end cap just loaded with Mickey Mouse stuff.
My kids love those Mickey Mouse goldfish. They love them.
Yes, those goldfish. Yes, and like I was channel surfing today, and QVC was having a Mickey Mouse 90th anniversary special going on where you find Mickey Mouse stuff, and they put out a new Blu-ray a combo pack where you get it's got 13 Mickey Mouse shorts on it, and for the 90th anniversary, so it starts with Steamboat Willie, and you get 13, and it ends with Get a Horse, which is the most recent theatrical short. So
it's over your right shoulder, actually.
Yeah, for whatever reason, if you somehow found the video feed to this.
And also, I believe Disney Junior is doing a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse 24 hours live stream right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so hot dog.
I really would love to get I really hope when Disney launches their streaming stuff that like this stuff is just a given. Like it's the Mickey Mouse cartoons are all easy to find, but it would be nice to have them under one roof.
Like, and in HD quality.
Yeah, because it's weird because I got this Blu-ray set, and like to see Steamboat Willie or the band concert in 1080p it's weird. Like it's so clean.
I haven't seen a good version of one of my favorite. I think actually my favorite Mickey Mouse short is Mickey's Trailer, and I haven't seen a good quality version of that in a long time.
That's on this set, by the way.
Oh, nice. I love that cartoon.
Yeah. So
Donald eating corn like a.
We're just talking about Mickey Mouse now. This movie was just so non-impactful for us, and it's his birthday. You should talk about the man.
Watch the Mickey Mouse special if you're watching this live, I guess, or tape it.
Nobody should be watching this live. I don't tell anyone we're doing this. It's just easier to record dual audio on YouTube. It's less work for me, and that's how I like it.
But there's it is kind of cool. All the cool Mickey Mouse stuff in the celebration right now. So, we'll end on a high note, I guess.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse rules. Mickey Mouse cartoons rule.
He's got more.
The new Mickey Mouse stuff that they're doing now is fantastic.
So good. He's back to his weird roots.
Yeah, he's Mickey Mouse as Mickey Mouse was sort of originally conceived as, you know, bit of a troublemaker, getting into mischief and causing problems for the people around him, you know. So uh, that's the best Mickey Mouse, always was. You know, yeah, okay, you know, Mickey Mouse is this cute cultural icon, but you know, he was a bit of a jerk early on. But then they gave that character trait to Donald, because Donald Duck cartoon, and then Donald Duck cartoons became like the de facto. They became more popular than Mickey Mouse cartoons for a time. So,
I mean, if you, me personally, and you know, for cartoon characters, I like antagonists. That's why I love Bugs Bunny, and that's why I love older Mickey Mouse.
yeah, that's why you love Donald Duck.
Yeah, because they're instigators.
Yeah, he wants to cause. The band concert is great because it's Donald Duck. It's a Mickey Mouse cartoon, but it's all Donald Duck screwing with Mickey Mouse. It's the first Mickey Mouse color cartoon, and it's Donald Duck at a park, like selling ice cream, peanuts, and lemonade, and trying to just pulling a flute out of his shirt sleeve constantly, trying to interrupt his band concert, and it's just driving Mickey Mouse insane. And it's just an absolutely fantastic cartoon. That's my suggestion. Go watch Band Concert. It's great.
Go watch a Mickey Mouse cartoon.
Yeah. Don't watch this one. Don't watch Saludos Amigos. Saludos Amigos is a curiosity, I think. I think it's one of those things where if you have 40 minutes to kill and you're like, I've never seen this. It looks weird. It's a weird idea, and it's a curiosity at best, and especially nowadays. There's no reason to go back to it because it's just like it's outdated. It's this like old way of thinking kind of stuff. It's like Latin America isn't the same then as it is now. You know, it doesn't have a purpose because back then the purpose was just a very specific purpose of Nazis are bad. You guys look how cool we are, and we're over here saying hi. We brought Walt Disney over to talk you guys up. So.
The other reason you can watch this movie is if you're like me when I was in college, I waited till the last minute to write papers. So you're writing a paper on Latin America. Saludos Amigos.
We also, now spoilers for next week. Next week's episode, we get to learn Donald Duck's birthday. Because the whole movie is framed around Donald Duck getting birthday presents, and all of the presents are Latin America themed. So yeah, that's the plot of Three Caballeros, and we'll dive into that next week. This is a real short episode. This is probably the shortest one. No, next week will be the shortest one because there's no history to it like there is to this one, where we get to talk a little bit about World War II and the reason they're doing this. Next week, it's the same story. It's just a year later, and yeah,
it's I don't know. It's the Kill Bill Volume 2 of terrible Disney travelogue movies.
Yeah, I think the most fun we'll have is be talking about the things tangentially related to the Three Caballeros. So next week will probably be a similar thing, and next week we'll also be talking more about Mickey Mouse because it will be his birthday next week. So
we'll do that to kill some time too.
Yeah. So we'll be in real time talking about. I may just make next week's episode like Three Caballeros plus bonus, and just have it be Mickey Mouse talk next week. I think that would be.
We'll talk about our favorite mouse cartoons and memories, and
a little more history behind Mickey Mouse. I think will be. We'll throw in next week, since next week's episode will be much shorter. So.
And would be a bummer otherwise.
Yeah, it'll be a bummer otherwise because, spoiler alert, same opinions are going to apply.
Yep.
I could just do that thing, like I could just put my hand over my mouth and dub in Three Caballeros every time we said Saludos Amigos, and be basically the same episode.
Enjoy watching this films presented by Mr. Black.
Exactly. So yeah. I think we're going to wrap this one up. This is a nice, short, compact episode of us being kind of jerks to a movie that had, you know, not evil intentions, best of intentions in its own way, but it's boring and bad.
It's boring. But Mickey Mouse is awesome. There you go.
Mickey Mouse rules. We'll talk way more about Mickey Mouse next week. Next week's episode of Three Caballeros and Mickey Mouse facts. So... yeah, enjoy that. I can't wait for that one. Actually, now that I've on the fly come up with a different idea for the next week's episode. So there we go. Another one in the can, Nick. That's great. Really short.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Saludos, amigos. Be aware there's a spinner up here.
I forget. Like, what would be the opposite of saludos, amigos? What's goodbye, enemies? I don't know. What's
Vámonos, cabrón.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So until next week, I've been JJ this entire episode. That's been Nick for most of the episode, and
I'm Gaucho Nick.
Yeah, Gaucho Nick. And until next week, have a magical day.
Bye.